What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, wanted to do a quick video here to talk about some potential news that could be coming for the Indianapolis Colts. So the news has been going around, the reports have been going around that potentially Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, who were both staples of the 2020 NFL draft for the Indianapolis Colts, both have a potential chance to actually be extended this offseason because after this season, their rookie contracts will be up and they will be free agents if they are not extended before the season is over. So we go back and we look at this and we need to look at, what do you guys think the Colts should do? That's the big question. I don't remember if it was a recent video that I had done or if I had gone, I think it was actually on someone else's. I think I had just recently gone on someone else's podcast and had talked about Pittman and Taylor and needing to sign or re-sign either or of these guys. So I highly encourage you guys. I think it was the Horseshoe Mob podcast. So if you guys want to check out my original argument on that, feel free to go check them out on their YouTube channel. But looking at this, we actually did see I actually want to pull that up because there was actually a photo that was taken that Jonathan Taylor posted on Instagram about what he potentially might be getting soon. But Jonathan Taylor actually posted a picture the other day of him with the eye emojis. And and some people are equating that for Jonathan Taylor might be looking at his extension very, very shortly. That could have meant anything. That could have just all been a joke. That could have meant something completely different. But from what we do know is, again, the rumors spread and, the talk of that stuff gets out really quickly. And it's no doubt that, Chris Ballard, who really likes to pay his players, the guys he brings in, the guys that perform, they bring it in really well. So maybe there have been talks with Jonathan Taylor recently about it, that sort of thing. The big question is are we going to re-sign either of these guys? And if so, how much? And if not, what's the next step? Just looking at Jonathan Taylor's sake, obviously a second-round draft pick in the 2020 NFL draft by the Indianapolis Colts in 2021 had one of the greatest seasons by an Indianapolis Colt that we had ever seen from a running back perspective and was named the best running back in the league that year for the most part by most people. And it was a guy that really turned the tables. And, everyone was talking about how Jonathan Taylor is the next great running back. Obviously, this last year had an ankle problem that hindered him out for the majority of the season last year. It's the first time in his entire football career that he ever sustained an injury like that, that required him to miss any time. So you think about him and you're thinking you're not entirely worried about it as long as there's no long-term damage done to the ankle, which by all accounts, everyone seems to think that there isn't going to be. So that's a good positive sign. This guy's been stable. This guy has been good. When he has played, he has made a huge difference in this team. Now, the ultimate question is, Jonathan Taylor was asked about this a few weeks back and actually did tell everyone that he knows what's going on with the running back market right now, that teams are not looking to pay running backs big money right now because it's the truth that the running back position is the most expandable position in all of the NFL, really. I mean, you can get a lot of different running backs who are not elite to be able to do almost the same job as a guy like a Jonathan Taylor or a Dalvin Cook or a what a couple other guys have been doing recently. Obviously, there would be a drop off, but in comparison to like tight end sake, quarterback sake, wide receiver sake, those types of things, the way the NFL is moving in today's NFL, the production you lose from having an elite wide receiver to a mid wide receiver is much more drastic than what you get in difference from an elite running back to a mid running back. That's basically what it is. So say what you want. Say what you want. That's just how it is in the NFL right now. And that has dictated the market for a lot of different teams. That's why the franchise tag value hasn't gone up. That's why running backs are not getting paid $20 million a year right now. And then you look at some of the bad contracts, like as of recently, you look at what Dallas did with Ezekiel Elliott's contract, right? Ezekiel Elliott got that 6-year, $90 million contract. And then he ended up having 2 or 3 solid years. And then, they're looking to try to get rid of him. I mean, and he's pretty much losing his position to Tony Pollard right now. I mean, it's crazy the world that we live in the NFL, but that's just how it is now. And Jonathan Taylor understands that. So no doubt that Jonathan Taylor is trying really hard to acquire as much money as he possibly can because he knows what the market is set for right now. And he said he wants to remain in Indianapolis for all of that. So that's good. That means that, he's going to communicate with Ballard. And, I totally don't think that Chris Ballard is going to offend Jonathan Taylor. I think he is going to inform Jonathan Taylor, hey, listen, you are a guy that I love here, and I really want to continue to have you here. You understand how the league works when it comes to the money for this position. So I have to take that into account. But at the same time, Ballard pays the guys that he drafts that perform. And I think the Colts should bring him in. Honestly, if it were up to me and I was able to do this, then I would definitely be franchise tagging Jonathan Taylor this year. If you were actually able to do that, or next year, next year franchise tag him. But the only problem is how would that make Jonathan Taylor feel? I don't 100% know how that would work for him, but it's clear that the Indianapolis Colts are a really good team with Jonathan Taylor on it and are an okay team with him not on it. And with a team right now and a lot of people are trying to use the argument of Jonathan Taylor not needing to be re-signed because of the value of the position. The only problem with that argument, and I see this, and I don't think a lot of people are looking at it this way. This is a team right now that is not built to win 11, 12 games right now. This is a team that is young in all of the positions of need. Quarterback especially. Your secondary is all young guys besides one in Kenny Moore. Your wide receivers are all young. Your tight ends are all young, except for one guy who might be out the door at some point and doesn't really perform at the highest level. And then a quarterback who is about to go into a season where he needs help. He needs help. He needs a guy back there in the backfield where he can hand it off to this guy and have confidence that whenever he hands him the football, that something magical could happen. And that's huge for building confidence with a quarterback who needs that right now. Like, we don't re-sign him after this year, then, Anthony Richardson doesn't take that jump from year 1 to year 2 by a bigger stretch. It doesn't help Anthony Richardson at all to not have Jonathan Taylor back in the backfield for at least a couple more years, right? So even in that year 2 or year 3 sort of thing, that Richardson's still trying to learn and get better at the game and make better options and be a more explosive player. Having an explosive player in the backfield already is going to help build confidence and build stability for Anthony Richardson And that's why I feel with a new offensive system in Shane Steichen, who knows how to get these guys moving and how to get guys going, I think that is a better thing to have right now. Listen, Jonathan Taylor, if we want to talk about the contract after this one, then I'm willing to discuss that. But I feel that the Indianapolis Colts should keep Jonathan Taylor around for a few more years after this year because he's still going to be in his prime. He's still going to be an elite running back and all of this. If you can franchise tag him, that'd be insane. But I highly doubt that that's going to be the circumstance that they're going to get him under, right? So I would really hope that they would be able to do that. But at the end of the day, I think that's what they should do. You guys let me know what you think on that. Now, in regards to Pittman, I'm a little bit more, I would like to see Pittman play out this season before I see what we can do with him. I don't know if I feel confident in saying, yes, Pittman goes and gets a contract right now for 20, 21, 22 mil, like that sort of thing, right? I mean, again, that's the crazy part is everyone was talking about it, right? Last year, Christian Kirk, he got that big contract, right? Got that 4-year, $21 million a year contract, right? So, I mean, when it comes to the numbers, I mean, Christian Kirk, again, had just such a phenomenal year, had 84 receptions for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. I mean, I'm going to see how that stacks up. This last year for Michael Pittman, he had 99 receptions for 925 and 4 touchdowns. And a lot of people want to talk about his 2021 year where he had 4 more catches, had 50 less yards, and had 2 less touchdowns. So, I mean, again, he's right at around the numbers that Christian Kirk is putting up. And so if that's the case, everyone's going to talk about, well, if Christian Kirk is getting that money and I'm doing 85 catches for 1,100 yards and, a few touchdowns, then I should be getting around $20 million a year. It all depends on how Michael Pittman does this next year. And the tricky part is with Michael Pittman's sake is he has a rookie quarterback with a new offensive-minded coach. That is going to be different for him. He's going to have a new offensive staff. He's got to run a new system. He's got to run it with a new quarterback who he doesn't have a ton of chemistry with yet. So how does he fit with the team going forward? How does he handle it moving forward with that? So I would definitely love to see if that ends up becoming a thing. I think that Jonathan Taylor should be signed right away, and that Pittman we should wait to see, because last year we saw a bunch of things where Pittman had some really bad plays. And obviously last year was an abysmal year for the Indianapolis Colts and their offense. But, I mean, we got to see him shine above the spotlight, right? We got to see something because, yes, he had 100 receptions last year, but he only had 925 yards. I mean, that's only 9.3 yards a catch. That's not enough for the guy that you want to be your number one, right? So that's not enough. There's not enough production for me yet to say that Michael Pittman should be making $20+ million a year. Now, if it was under that, I would say, yeah, go ahead. But I highly doubt that's something that would happen. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this. Love to hear if you guys think this is a good idea or not. What do you think? Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, sign them both. Don't sign them, either of them. Sign one or the other. What do you guys think? That's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.